سيدنا مولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وأصحابه وبارك وسلم. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك. آمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Like old times, eh?
Assalamu warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Sheikh.
Guys are missing out online. Can you hear me? Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, we're back in class this week. And for those of you who can make it back in class, inshallah, you must come back to class. There's lots of space so you can social distance, even 10 meters. You can sit in the main mosque there if you want to, inshallah. So, alhamdulillah, we thank Allah that we are back. And may Allah keep us back in class again. Ameen, inshallah. The masjid has a special barakah to it that no online platform can ever replace or emulate. Alhamdulillah. And also meeting people in person is that we always make multiple niyas. And one of the niyas is that you meet your brother and your sister for the sake of Allah Ta'ala. Because that's one of the people who will be in the shade of the arsh of Allah Ta'ala on the Qiyamah. So we make multiple niyas, and this helps us. Alhamdulillah. So those of you who are able to come, you can come to class, inshallah. Alhamdulillah. Also, just a note that whatever's on the screen is on the projector. So if you direct message me, the whole class can see it. Just letting you know, inshallah. So if you direct message me, the whole class can see it because it's the same laptop we're presenting and we are teaching from. So just a note, inshallah. Alhamdulillah. So, bismillah. Any questions or anything before we start? Guys, okay? We'll have an icebreaker sometime, inshallah. But I don't even remember each other or know each other, all of those things. But maybe we'll play for next week an icebreaker or something, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سورة الانفطار أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إذا السماء انفطرت. Again, these are going to be one of the three surahs that describe Qiyamah according to the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. إذا السماء, when السماء, the heavens infatarat, become split open, become torn apart. وإذا الكواكب انتثرت, and when the stars and the heavenly bodies, they lose their order, they lose their courses and their orbits, and they fall away. وَإِذَا الْبِحَارُ فُجِّرَتْ, and when the seas become overflowing. وَإِذَا الْقُبُورُ بُعْثِرَتْ, and remember it said بُعْثِرَتْ was two words combined, which is what? بَعَثَ and Ithara. So ba'atha means when something is raised, and ithara means something is like agitated, disturbed. So in other words, when the graves are raised and they're agitated, in other words, that the contents emerges. So there's four idhas there, and the response is alimat nafsum ma qaddamat wa akharat. Alimat maldi for mudari, maldi for emphasis. Alimat will definitely know, nafsun, every soul will know, ma, that which, maf'ulun bihi, qaddamat wa akharat. We mentioned two things there. Qaddamat could mean that which it has sent forward, and akharat could mean that which it has neglected or didn't do. Or qaddamat could mean that which it did in its early life, and akharat could mean that which it did in its later life. So it's going to be the first part. Then the second part of the surah. Ya ayyuhal insan, ya ayyuhal insan, O mankind, O human beings. Formal address. Formal address, why? Because Allah is actually going to rebuke this group of humans. Ma gharraka bi rabbika al-kareem. Ma, what gharraka? Gharraka from the word ghurur. What has deceived you bi rabbika al-kareem, about your noble and generous Lord, your Lord that provides for you and gives for you. Alladhi, the one that khalaqaka, he has created you, fasawwaka, and then he proportioned you, fa'adalaka, and then he balanced you, fi ayyi suratin ma sha'a rakkabak, in whichever form he willed to create you, to make you, to put you together. I think we ended there, right? So we ended there. So we start with verse number 9. Allah says, Kalla. What does Kalla mean? So in other words, Kalla is for negation. So what is Allah negating? Allah is negating an attitude or a statement or something before. So what is a so in other words, is Allah creating the fact that He created you or balanced you? None of those things. So what's Allah negating? Okay, so it could be one of two things. When Allah says, "Ma gharraka bi rabbikal kareem," Allah is speaking about two things there. Allah is saying that you are deceived, and what's the second thing? But when Allah says ma gharraka, what's Allah actually is Allah, when Allah says ma gharraka, is Allah asking, are you deceived? No. Allah is saying what? What has deceived you? So the kalla can be a negation of what has deceived you and your deception. You with me? Like kalla, nay, whatever is status, ambition, wealth, kalla, nay. Or ghurur, your deception itself, kalla. You with me? For the reasons for your deception and your deception, kalla. No complete negation. Bal, rather, tukadhibuna, what you are actually doing is you are tukadhibuna, second bab, which means what? To deem something a lie. To deem something a lie. You are deeming a lie. What are you deeming a lie? Bid-deen. What does deen mean? Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin. We know deen translates as judgment. So how does deen, what else do we use deen for? Religion. So in other words, one of the features of Judgment Day is that you will be judged according to your wealth? No. Gender? No. But your faith. And also deen comes from the word then from dain also. What does dain mean? A dain means a loan. In other words, life is not for free. There's payback time. Your capital you get is actually not for free. You can't live as you want. There's a payback time. There's a dain that you have to repay. And that is the day of judgment. So kalla, nay, bal rather tukadhibuna, you are denying. And which hal is it verb in and why? What's the difference? Allah saying kalla bal kadhabtum bid-din and saying kalla bal tukadhibuna bid-din. No, same verb. So I'm saying kadhabtum, kadhaba, yukadhibu. Allah could have used the mudari, the maldi. Kalla bal kadhabtum. You have denied the judgment. Or kalla bal tukadhibuna bid-din. You are continually denying, which means what? It's almost like still. You still continue to, because remember they're seeing these verses now, and the mudari means it's an ongoing incomplete action, and Allah is saying you are still, after all of this, you are still denying the deen, you are still denying the judgment day. وَإِنَّ عَلَيْكُمْ لَحَافِظِينَ كِرَامًا كَاتِبِينَ يَعْلَمُونَ مَا تَفْعَلُونَ. وَإِنَّ, do you guys know inna? The mother Zakaria inna with you. Second is? Today you kana, not inna yet. Okay, inna is kana, but the other way around. Okay, so inna means what? Indeed, when do you use inna? When do you emphasize? Something important, when else? Something important, something doubted, something disputed. You with me? You don't emphasize for random reasons. You emphasize because somebody is doubting something, someone is disputing something. You with me? Something contesting something. So you use inna for that. So inna is verily something is something. The first something is called ismu inna. And the second something is called khabr inna. So what is the first something in raf or nasb or jar? What is the ism inna in? Okay, we ask other thing. What is ism kana always in? Rafun. So inna is the opposite. So ism inna is what? Nasb. So I'm looking for the inna, ism inna, I'm looking for a nasb word. And the khabar inna is what? That's so nice, I miss this, man. Because I'm looking at this participants. Who's in the unmute? Who's in the unmute? You can't mute. Really, alhamdulillah. All the favors you don't realize. The favors you don't realize. Anyway, alhamdulillah. So the khabar inna is what? Which hal? Rafun. The khabar is rafun. So in this sentence, where is the ism inna? Where is the khabar inna? Because the ism inna is the something and the khabar is the inna is the something. So is which one of those? Alaykum la hafidhin. Which one is in nasb? Hafidhin. Because remember, una is rafun, ina is nasb. So what you can say there is that the ism inna is hafidhin. So where's the khabar inna? The khabar inna, you can't see the khabar inna, but there's something in place of the khabar inna. It's almost like saying a mubtada khabar, ar-rajulu fil bayt. What's the khabar of that? Fil bayt. Ar-rajulu you can see, but you can't see tawilun or saghirun, you can see fil bayt. So in other words, where's the khabar inna ya? The harfu jar is majrur. Alaykum. So what do we have here? We have a swapping between the khabru inna and the ismu inna. Normally that is done for what? For emphasis. Okay. So of the alaykum. So basically, because normally you put the khabar second, but as soon as you move the khabar first, it is there to be emphasized. But let's just first understand, what does hafidhin mean? Protect and guardian. And alaykum means? So word for word, it means verily upon you there is definitely protectors, guardians. So who's Allah speaking about? Also, if you're online, you can answer, I can hear you, I can see you. Don't ever feel like you're not part of the class. We can also hear and see. You can also shout out. Naam. But you are missing out, I must say. Naam. So we are speaking about the angels here, actually. So they say the hafidhin are the angels. The hafidhin are the angels. Yeah. So the you would be generally everyone, but specifically actually those who are denying. We're going to ask a question why now. So we'll come back to the question. But so this is say Allah is saying, verily, there's actually 3 points of emphasis here. The first point of emphasis is the inna. There's four points of emphasis. The first point, so when you look at the Quran at the translation level, you see words. You say inna, verily. Ala, upon, kum, you, la, definitely, hafidhin, protectors. When you look at the Quran at the grammar level, you get labels. Inna, harf inna, alaykum, harf is majrur in the place of the khabar inna, la is just a harfu tawkid, and hafidhin is the ismu inna. Then you look at the Quran at the linguistic level, then you must understand, why did Allah use inna, why did Allah use hafidhin as the ism? Why did Allah move the khabar from the mutra? Because now it's a linguistic analysis. So you look at the Quran levels. So when I look at this verse, I see 4 emphasis points. So generally what happens is like you must train your eye, because you see it now, you see it again, later on again. So you see it now. So the 4 emphasis points are going to be, number 1 is inna is the obvious one. Allah uses inna. The second emphasis point, Allah wants to emphasize the alaykum, because those are the people denying accountability. You are in ghurur, the audience here, you're in ghurur, and you are constantly denying that you're going to be judged, and especially upon you. Like, we're actually speaking about the angels. The angels almost like it's actually about the you. Upon each one of you. So that's the second emphasis point. Then the third emphasis point is what? Easy one. The lamut tawkid. They are definitely, undoubtedly. And what's the fourth emphasis point? That's the second one. The fourth one is hafidhin is ismul fa'il. Whenever you see ismul fa'il, it means it's the label of something which means like a permanent state. It's not an angel comes in the morning and protects you. Hafidin means what? Their label are protectors, preservers. Meaning what? That is their permanent state. They are constantly with you when you are alone, when you're in public, when you are old, when you are young, when you are, there's no escaping them. They hafidin all the time. And then the hafidin also has two meanings. When I say hafidin, what do you understand by it? Protecting who from what? When I say hafidin, what do you understand by it? You can also answer online. I don't want to make you feel left out. How can you be protecting the record? What else can it be? Do angels protect you? So, you know, with our English culture, we have the idea of a guardian angel. So do angels protect you? Yeah, so there are hadith about angels protecting. That angels do actually guard you from calamities until the decreed calamity comes and khalas. And so angels, in a sense, Allah, so in a sense, the angels are protecting people in terms of like from harm. Except with all decrees, and that's it, but they are there for. But the other meaning of hafidin means what? Hafidin means also when someone preserves their role. Hafidin ala amrihim, upon their job. There's a difference. It means that they are preserving their role of watching you, recording you, and they're hafidin of that role. You're not speaking about protecting your body from harm and stuff. They are protecting you from their role. Can you see how that affects people who are denying this? You're denying the hereafter, but there are angels who are hafidin, who are permanently, constantly, undoubtedly guarding their role all the time. And they are definitely alaykum, and they are certainly upon you. So that's going to be the second meaning. Allah's giving? No. So the question for those who are online is that the reason why Allah didn't only mention scribe? So yes, so Allah actually mentioned in the scene 4 qualities. So we go through all 4. One of them are only scribes. But the other idea is that idea of that they are super, not efficient, but they're not like a human, they're not like a human employee. They are hafidin, which means, you know what I mean? They are on it 24/7. They are, you know what I mean? They are like super workers. Because sometimes, because remember when Allah is clarifying belief, you generally only establish belief via analogy. Like a person's mind can't really think beyond analogy. Therefore, if a person, for example, never ever saw a color in their life and they're born blind, you can't actually explain color because they've never experienced sight. So they can't say it is like, it is. There's no you know what I mean? What are you going to say? It must be relative to something. So a lot of aqidah, when Allah speaks, is Allah speaking to people who live in the seen world about the unseen. And then you have to keep explaining the unseen world to what the seen world. So okay, Jannah, gardens, rivers, this, that. Even Allah Himself. Allah is seeing, Allah is hearing, because we understand what seeing and hearing means. So Allah is like bring the unseen level down to the seen level and give you some sort of analogy. But even that is not always exactly as it is. So even an angel, when Allah describes an angel, we think of a like a very good human who can fly. You know, you basically think of a very good human that constantly can fly around. That's what you think about. So Allah has to like basically create the correct understanding through this text. And therefore, it's important to read it. Like each word is actually important because it's forming your idea of something. And then also, we also have our additional issues that we have a lot of, let's call it Christian legacy, aqidah in our mind. Like who of you pictured, for example, a blue angel? All of you in your mind, a white angel came to mind. You know what I mean? They're all just white. I'm not saying it's wrong, right? I'm just saying like, because we saw those paintings of an angel and the wing and all of those kind of things. So like, it's almost like you have to just take that away and say, like, what's the Quran? So each word here is important. The hafidin are these things which, and also the idea of I don't remember ever seeing like a intimidating angel. But in the Quran, there are intimidating angels who like strike people and who like are the gods of Jahannam. You know what I mean? It's not always, we always think of it as like a nice, soft, like a lovable thing. So it's important to actually like, to just like, this is the Quranic language and hadith, and you know, must clear yourself from all of those things. And there was a time where the dominant discourse was Islamic, and the rest of the world came to understand even their own religion through the Islamic paradigms. There are many cases of Christian theologians coming to Islam, understanding our paradigms, and then translating it into their own, not their own like biblical stuff, but they actually took the Islamic view and they almost imported it that way. And now we're doing the reverse. So we just be conscious of that as well, in terms of a lot of things about how you construct your mind, your worldview, and that is a long discussion. Anyway, wa inna and verily alaykum upon you lahafidin, sifa number 1, not sifa number 1, but description number 1. Sifa number 2, kiraman. What does kiram mean? Someone who is noble, someone who is honorable. When you think of someone kiram, do you think of someone who has trustworthiness? Someone who does their duty, who is trustworthy, dutiful. Katibin. Katibin means what? Recording, writing, scribing. Sometimes or all the time? I don't know. There we go. Ismu fa'il, katibin. Kataba yaktubu, katibin. Always doing their deed. Also, the idea of katibin also is the idea of precision. Especially when you think of this is revealed to people who don't read and write. The idea of something being scribed is the idea of precision. Date, time, this idea of ultimate precision. And in the precision, there's also a warning. It's not like a vague good guy, bad guy. Let's bring the diary out. 6th of October, you know, precision. يَعْلَمُونَ مَا تَفْعَلُونَ. يَعْلَمُونَ, they have ilm. They have knowledge. They have knowledge, and they also have. You see what happens with the angel? Does the angel know the future? No. So the angel is learning it how? On the go. Okay, you can see the fi'l mudari. The fi'l mudari, why? Is because they are constantly, their ilm is actually constantly growing. Your angel is learning more about you every day. No. يَعْلَمُونَ. They know, and they constantly know, but a fi'l mudari is also incomplete, which means the knowledge is incomplete and always developing. Ma, the ma is what? Maf'ulun bihi. That which taf'alun, that which you are constantly doing also. Also mudari. Which you are doing all the time, they are knowing all the time. So why mention all of those things? It is again going to be part of the idea of كَلَّا بَلْ تُكَذِّبُونَ بِالدِّينِ مَا غَرَّكَ بِرَبِّكَ الْكَرِيمِ. Why? Because all of this, why the scribing? Why the knowing? What's the point of it? The point of it is Qiyamah. that there will be a record for you, an accurate record by an upright, obedient, dutiful angel who has the tools to inscribe and knows everything that you're doing, and it will be presented on the day of judgment. And this is going to be again an argument against people who are denying it. They had an understanding of an angel. They generally, I think the Arabs generally used to make the angel all feminine. They used to make like feminine angels. I think there's ayah by that as well. Yeah, you make them into daughters, like, and so on. But they didn't have any conception of Qiyam. There was no idea. The angel wasn't doing any of the resurrection or Qiyamah and the recording deeds, none of those. No. The Mufassir interestingly says that if you're looking for a good worker, the 4 qualities they must have. The Mufassir says, like, they must have hafidin, which means they must be devoted to their work. They must be able to preserve their work. They must be kiram, which means they must have like the ethical moral uprightness. They must have katibin, which means they must have the skills, like the accurate skills. And they have ya'lamuna, they must have knowledge. So they say this is actually, he mentions like this is actually put on your CV. I'm kiraman katibin. Just like the angels. Yeah. But it's interesting how they actually extract that from the Quran in terms of like people you're looking for good people that you are looking for. Because sometimes you can find certain qualities. Someone can have ilm and they can have even the skills, but they're not devoted. Or they can be devoted but they're not ethical, so they're actually robbing you the whole time. They're robbing you. They're robbing you with a good work ethic. They're robbing you from 7 till 4. So you must have all 4 in terms of, because normally we quote the Nabi Musa one. Inna khayra man istajarta al-qawiyul amin. Qawi means able, amin means trustworthy. But it's also interesting paradigm in terms of working and duty and so on. Now, yaslawnaha yawmaddin. Yaslawna. So yaslawna means actually like to experience heat. Experience heat actually means to burn. So, but in other words, it means when you are able to perceive and feel heat. Oh, I skipped like a whole lot of verses. Innal abrara lafi na'im. Now we almost like we're moving from the angels now to the outcome. So inna, again, inna, verily, indeed, undoubtedly. Al-abrar are the people of bir. What does bir mean? Bir is generally any types of goodness. Bir is someone who like spends, who speaks truthfully, who is generous. Any type of goodness are the people of bir. So we normally use bir when we say hajj. It's a hajjul mabrur. May you have a good hajj. And a good hajj actually means may you have a hajj free of any of those defects, of speaking badly, of doing the wrong thing, and so on. So bir is a person of righteousness, of goodness. So the abrar, certainly al-abrar, the people of bir, la, they are definitely, undoubtedly, fi, in na'im. What's na'im? Na'im is pleasure, bliss, happiness. Is na'im a place or a state? No, but it's a Jannah of na'im. I'm saying, but the word na'im. Like if I say I'm going to bliss, you can change the location pin. So this is a form of what you call metaphorical speech. Metaphorical speech is that you are speaking about what? You're speaking of paradise, but you are referring to it by the state that you experience it. You with me? You're referring to paradise, but you're not saying they're in Jannah or Jannah to Na'im. They're saying you're in Na'im, you're mentioning the the state, but you're intending actually the state, the place where that state is experienced. Innal abrara lafi na'im. Allah make us of them. Ameen. Wa inna, and verily, undoubtedly, al fujjar. What's fujjar? Wicked, evil, and we remember. Give us where does it come from? I mentioned last time, where does fujjar come from? Fajara. In other words, when the person, it's people basically almost like they explode with evil, because everybody has a degree of evil. But what happens is that if the nafs is, most of us, I believe, are what you call an-nafsul lawama. Allah knows best. But we do the wrong thing, then we say, oh, how did I do that? Then we try and come right again. We do the wrong thing, right again. But now, if you don't have that, why did I do that? You do the wrong thing more and more and more until you have this fujur, which means this explosion of sin. And then the person like becomes almost like genuinely evil. Because after so many years of lack of control, and people's like perceptions are very warped. People do immensely evil things. And especially, I mean, especially like leaders of state and politicians, like on the day of Qiyamah, how do you justify those wars, those bombs, those sanctions? How do you just on Qiyamah? What's waiting for you? Just because out of your pride and your ego, you now declared, yeah, it's because I mean in Islam, one life is like, you kill one life is like killing humanity. That's like our perception of life. Your perception of life is to kill a few 100,000, and then just like they had Colin Powell. Now they want to whitewash his whole legacy. First black man and this and that. He's one of the architects of the Iraqi war, responsible for 100,000, the millions of deaths. But no, it's like it's a whitewash affair now in the eulogies and all of these things. It's actually wrong. And that's fujjar for me. And sometimes the fajr, they're so used to also, they're so good at like polishing themselves. And they appear so like moral, and we must call things out what they are actually. We call things out what they are. Innal fujjar, the people of fujjar who are exploding, who are continuous with the sins, they are definitely, undoubtedly, in jahim. Jahim means the blaze. They are in a blaze actually, majhul. They are in a blaze. So a blaze here is not a state. A blaze is actual place, a place where there is fire, and they will be in the blaze. Yaslawnaha. Yasla means to enter something. It also means to experience the heat or to burn in something. They will burn in it, in this jahim. When will they burn in it? Yawm ad-din, on the day of judgment. The day that Allah is saying, the day that you are dying, those who deny it, they will burn in it. And there will be no denying it. وَمَا هُمْ عَنْهَا بِغَائِبِينَ. وَمَا هُمْ, that is nafi and negation. And not them, the fujjar, they will not be anha, from it. Going back to what? The jahim. They won't be ghaibin. What's ghaib? Absent. Ghaib, be unseen. Like some of you are unseen right now. It means to be absent. No, I'm just joking. Yeah? I must rub it in a little bit, okay? Just a little bit, okay? Just forgive us. We're trying to promote the FOMO, the fear of missing out. Yeah, that boosts attendance, alhamdulillah. The tell Mount Zakaria about every sisters also. No. Oh, they showed the sisters also. Not salt, habibi. Sugar water. No. وَمَا هُمْ عَنْهَا بِغَائِبِينَ. وَمَا هُمْ, and not whom, they are not anha, from it, from the jahim, بِغَائِبِينَ. They will not be able to be absent from it. There's no choice. Like death would be a mercy actually. After a life of evil and causing misery and death to all these people, death yourself will be a mercy. There will be no absence from, there will be no death from it even. وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا يَوْمُ الدِّينِ ثُمَّ مَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا يَوْمُ الدِّينِ وَمَا and what أَدْرَاكَ أَدْرَاكَ, what is the word verb? Okay, I'll tell you the verb first of all. Let's start there. It's a Maldi verb, good. Which verb? Fourth verb. Adra, who can give me the Mudari? Anybody give me the Mudari online?
Is it Yudri, Maulana?
Allah, Brother Ziyad. See you soon, inshallah. It's Yudri. Yudri. Adra, Yudri. So Adra is Maldi and Yudri is Mudari, which is like a strange thing to say because Ma, what has, how do you translate Adraka? But you already know because Adra is what has made you known. Because Adra means to make known, but it's Maldi. So what has made you known? Ma yawmuddin. So let's talk about the word Adra quickly. The word Adra means that you know, there are certain things you can only know once and you can't know it again. So what I mean by that, for example, is let's say there's an institute called Mizan Institute. At some stage you learned that. And if someone says it again, you already know it. You can't learn it again. You with me? So some knowledge, so some things, when Adra means when you come to know something and you don't like know it again, just because you know it. You know that this mosque is in whatever Mount you know those things. So generally in the Quran, when Allah uses Adra, He generally is going to give you the answer afterwards. And when Allah Ta'ala uses the Yudri, He doesn't give you the answer afterwards. You with me? Where do we come with Yudri? Habasa wa tawalla and jahul a'ma wa ma yudrika. No answer given. Wa ma yudrika. What will make you know that that He's going to come to purity? No answer given. But yeah, Allah isn't going to give you the answer. Allah's going to give you an answer here. So Adra is like what is going to make you know, but I'm going to make you know. Make you know, ma, what is Yawmuddin is the day of judgment. Thumma. So the thumma here doesn't mean, it's not the literal thumma. What's a literal thumma? Literal thumma has two qualities. What's two qualities of thumma? Is thumma sequential or non-sequential? Is and sequential or non-sequential? Is and sequential or non-sequential? Let's call what is it? Does and determine sequence or doesn't determine sequence?
Non-sequential.
It's non-sequential. Meaning what? It could be of sequence, could not be of sequence, doesn't imply sequence. And thumma? So the first quality of thumma is sequential. It's therefore tartib. What second quality of thumma as opposed to fa? At-tarahi. Tarahi means that thumma generally implies a delay. Fa is immediate. So two qualities of thumma, sequential and delay. But here Allah is not intending there's like a delay or sequential. Here it's almost like, it's more like for again. Like again, let me tell you. So the thumma is not like one verb, then another verb comes later on. It's more for like an emphasis of again. Thumma, again, ma adraka ma yawmuddin. What will make you come to realize? And I'm going to tell you later on, also the next verse. Ma yawmuddin. What is the day of judgment? And Allah could answer that answer in many ways, and Allah does answer in many ways in the Quran. In this answer here, Allah says, Yawma, it is a yawm, la tamliku nafsun li nafsin shay'a. La does not tamliku. Tamliku means what? Malika yamliku, like Malik. Malik is own. So own, to possess. La tamliku will not own, will not possess, will not hold. Who is the fa'il? Nafsun. A nafs, nakira, any soul will not hold, will not own, will not have in their hand, in their power, li nafsin, for any soul. No soul, any soul will not hold in their power for any other soul. What will they hold? Shay. What does shay'an mean? Anything. يَوْمَ لَا تَمْلِكُ نَفْسٌ لِنَفْسٍ شَيْئًا. It will be a day where any soul will hold no power for any other soul. There's nothing that you can do for each other on the Qiyamah. It's all over. Then it's all in the court of the rahmah of Allah Ta'ala. And Allah will permit some people to intercede, and He will decide whether He accepts the intercession or not. But there's nothing else in the Qiyamah. Ultimately, a journey of life is alone. And that's like, for me, one of the most powerful thoughts to have in your mind is that your journey of life is your own journey. And no matter how big your group or strong your clan or anything, it doesn't actually matter. Because Allah is speaking to an audience who derives pride out of their collective power. Like the Quraysh, they are like the kings of the Arabs, and they have this great tribe, and they have the Kaaba, and they have all the idols, and they have all this power. And Allah is saying, يَوْمَ لَا تَمْلِكُ نَفْسٌ نَفْسٍ شَيْئًا وَالْأَمْرُ يَوْمَئِذٍ لِلَّهِ. وَالْأَمْرُ, and the command, the affair, the matter, the one who is in charge of the matter. يَوْمَئِذٍ means on that day. Then on that day will be lillah, will be for Allah. Will be for Allah and Allah alone. Alhamdulillah, may Allah bless us with the understanding of the surah, the right reward of us learning it. Allahu Ameen. Just 2 minutes inshallah on the structure of it quickly. If we had to mark off the sections, I would mark off where to mark off the first section. You work at the end of verse 5. Verse 5 is the first section. So verse 5 is basically about the signs of the end of the world and the culmination of it on Qiyamah, where every soul will know what it has sent forth and what it has left behind. So that's almost like not called the proofs of Qiyamah, it is it's a statement of fact almost. It's the information about Qiyamah. There's cataclysmic events going to happen and destruction, and there is accountability. That's 1 to 5. And then there is from where 6 to 9, I think. 6 to 9, I don't know. Uh, 6 to 8. I would generally say till 9, okay, but this is obviously not tafsir, it's just your own mind. That's how your mind makes groups. But I would put 9 because 9 is almost like let's call it like the closing of the kalla, and then moving forward. So 6 to 9 is going to be what? Allah's creation of you. Allah's creation of you as a dalil of Allah is the Kareem. People are in doubt about Him, people are deluded about Him, and He created you. And what an amazing form He made you in. And your position is mentioned in verse number 9, despite all of this, or all of these favors. Then from there, where do you go next? 9 to 12. From 10 to 12. Inna alaykum lahafidhin kiraman katibin ya'lamuna ma taf'alun. Speaking about the angels, 4 verses about the angel, or 3 verses about the angels, their 4 qualities. About they are recorders, scribes about you, and they are preparing themselves for Qiyamah. Then Allah moves to what? Allah moves in post-Qiyamah. Post-Qiyamah. From 13 to where? So maybe you can have like some things maybe from 13 to 16 is about the outcome of the 2 groups. Na'im and Jahim. And then 19 is going to be about the just about the description of Qiyamah. So you can see it's a very heavy Qiyamah surah. Everything about it actually is Qiyam. And the Prophet says about the surah, these last three surahs are actually very similar in nature. That they're all about Qiyamah. Tomorrow's surah will be a bit, not tomorrow. Getting overexcited. So next week's surah will be a different type of message, inshallah. So Mutaffifin. So Barakallah, we continue next week, inshallah. Next week, inshallah, we hope to start on time. We had some setup issues. We start 8 o'clock, inshallah. May Allah bless and protect. It's in opposite, half past 8, inshallah. Half past 8. Those online, you can join us, inshallah. It's in Surah Al-Asr. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Wal asr. Inna al-insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa 'amilus salihati wa tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bis sabr. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. جزاك الله مولانا.